Hello, hello. Welcome in. Oh no, my audio is looping. Where is that coming from? There we go. Okay. Should we go? Now I'm not hearing myself on a half-second delay. So yeah. Changing up streams a little bit. Normally Tuesday and Thursday were Minecraft, but we're trying something different. So gonna be playing some Kerbal Space Program. Got the Mars mission I was working on at the end of stream last time I streamed KSP, which was, I think, 2 Sundays ago? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, we're going to be working on that Mars mission again. So, there we go. Zoom saved. Mars. There we go. Sneaky second window open. It wasn't muted. That's what was causing the audio. All right. Once this loads. Okay, yeah, audio's working. Okay. Every time I start streaming, something breaks or I think something's breaking. Hopefully the game doesn't crash today. All right, so we did the booster, the core. All right, I need to design a launch vehicle for the HAB. Let's do something Saturn derivative. Welcome in, Taco. And of course, it's very laggy, because why would it not be? There we go. Is this the root part? Yes. Okay. I love how it changes between games. Oh, yeah. I don't know, it must look at like the stream category or something. This is a scientific expedition. That's a joke from a class that we were both in. Oh, Taco, by the way, I was going to ask, how do you set up the watch time commands like Nathan has? .6 meter fairing base. Yeah, that fairing will work. S4B propellant tank. Oh, I need the instrument unit. Where is that? S4B instrument unit. There we go. We'll do the 200 star. No, we'll do that. And the engine mount. J2 engine. J2, there we go. J2S. Saturn. Okay. Okay, so the APS pods go there. Symmetry. Okay, fill apps pod. Okay, there we go. And interstage. I'm gonna have to design a refueling vehicle. That's a Saturn 1 interstage. Saturn 1B interstage. Let's go simple. Let's do an AJ260 first stage. AJ260 full length. There we go. Haulage motors. Apps pods. Those, the fairing can go there. J2. That can all go there. And fairing. Do not auto jettison the fairing. All right, let's try this. I do not know if it will make orbit with this configuration, but we're about to find out. I would guess no. Please don't hang or crash or something. This is longer loading than normal. Come on, please don't crash. I really don't want to relaunch the game. So janky. There we go. Okay, we're in. We're in. And of course, it put an astronaut in there. Whatever. That's okay for a test flight. .463. Yep. Engage autopilot. It's not supposed to do that, I don't think. Yeah, something tells me that's not right. Now I'm kind of amused. I want to see what it does. Something tells me that didn't work quite right. I wonder if my control... let's revert to vehicle assembly. I wonder if something's backward in the control. Oh, okay, that's the root part and it's upside down. That's the issue. We'll just reroute to that. Now it should work. Without trying to fly to orbit upside down. It lifted off the pad and then proceeded to fly sideways all the way to the Banana River before it crashed. Went cruise missile mode. While rapidly rotating around the long axis. Okay, it's fixed now. That was the issue. A control point was backward. See, this is what rockets are supposed to do. They're supposed to go up. Yeah, it pitched over to horizontal, or a little bit past horizontal, right off the pad, bounced off the ground, and then went cruise missile mode. Not even ICBM mode. It was skimming the ground. ICBMs at least go up. Oh yeah, we're gonna make orbit easy. I might be able to use a half-length AJ260. We can definitely reduce the cost of this. You okay now? Good. Yeah, health stuff is scary. Part. I need auto strat. Well, I'm glad you're okay now. That's... Alright. I mean, it could definitely be done with current technology. It'd just be expensive as heck. I mean, SpaceX had the idea to do that with Starship, but getting Starship to a point where it's human rated is a whole can of worms. Yeah. All right, standing by for shutdown. All right, so full length AJ260 works. This is true. All right, so that worked. But it had a little bit of fuel left over. I wonder what would happen if we used a liquid first stage. I don't think they have enough kick to deorbit it. They just are there to push it away from the payload. I would have to check that. Next test flight, I'll test that. Also, it's a 250-mile orbit, so it's... Or is... What is that in kilometers? Yeah, 250-mile orbit. So it's kind of a high-ish orbit. let's swap this. Wait for the laggy search. It's really funny. The search takes forever after you load back in from the launch pad. Yeah. You want to make sure you've got a good amount of time set aside for it, in case weird things happen to your computer. Which Linux did you decide you were going to end up going with? Hmm. If you wanted to make a bunch of virtual machines, then you could try out a bunch of different versions without committing to one. Let's try this. And we want type Saturn 1C with an F1B. Yeah, for sure. Orbiter and SolidWorks are why I'm still dual booting. Otherwise, I would just go all Linux. F1B. I don't think we're going to have the delta V to hit orbit with this configuration, but we'll try it. Because if we could get to orbit without a big solid first stage, that would be nice. I also need to get rid of the crew and auto strut. I want this module. Auto strut, heaviest part. We'll also auto strut this. Launch. Yeah, you shouldn't have any problem. I mean, I've got Windows and Linux on OneDrive, so different partitions, obviously, but same physical disk. I have the second data drive, though, which is just mapped to both operating systems. Yeah. What's your drive configuration like? Do you have one drive for everything, or a boot drive and then a data drive, or? Oh, I am getting a phone call. I will be right back. I am back. Did I break something? No. Okay. Let's test this launch. left off. Oh, I forgot roll control. That's okay. We'll just disable that. Yes, I did. Yeah, I don't think we're making orbit. No, we're not making orbit. What about a half-length AJ260 maybe? I really don't want to use the AJ260. It's too rough. Current system only has one drive installed. Yeah, M2 drives, I've had good success with them. I've only had one of them die, and it was a relatively new one, so I think it was just a defective one. Yeah, I've got a 4 terabyte M.2 that I need to swap in, but I haven't bothered to mirror all the data yet. Yeah, this isn't gonna make orbit. Unless we want to use that third stage. Actually, we could use the third stage to finish orbit. Because there's plenty of fuel in that. We'll just do that, actually. On acceleration, we'll say 73%. Shut down. Ignition. Bearing has to go a little bit later. Let's time warp a little bit. I think I'm gonna need a few solids. I'm definitely gonna need solids. I disabled the requirement for ullage because the MechJeb landing autopilot for lunar landing wouldn't work with ullage enabled, which annoys me. It's a bad autopilot, but it's all we've got. And it just wouldn't work at all with that turned on because of ignition delay. So, it's disabled, yeah. Oh, and I can turn on force roll now because we have RCS control. So I need to add the roll jet thingies. Okay. Burnout. All right. Yeah, I've seen that script. It doesn't work for some reason. And he just hasn't fixed it. So I don't know if that's ever going to be fixed or if it's a dead project or what. All right, so that made orbit. But I want to run that again. Welcome in, Crafty. It's the Block 3 service module. So just shorter. I don't need all that fuel. All right, let's make some changes and try that again. We need roll control, solid rocket boosters, I think, and not have that engine ignite. I did make it to space. I'm just debugging right now, so I'm just going to be testing stuff, launching, testing stuff, launching again. This is the mission development part of the Mars mission. Okay. So I need a separate stage. It's not that complicated. It just looks that way. Once you kind of get the hang of it and the gist of it, it's really pretty simple. We need as far as like actually building, you just have all of the parts over here and you just kind of drag what you want and stick it on the launch vehicle or the spacecraft that you're building, which is a lot of fun. Let's see. I want vernier thrusters. Where are they? I don't know. I'm gonna have to search. And the search is very laggy. Yeah, for real. You think you tried this once? Probably. It's a pretty common game. A lot of people play it. Yeah. It's a really good way to just learn spaceflight by doing. My game is pretty modded, so it's not very representative of what the base game is. Yeah, I've got like everything's modded for realism. Because the stock system in Kerbal Space Program is scaled down. It's like I think was it 1/8 or 1/12 size? So it makes it so much easier to like get to space and stuff. And I've got mine set for I've got a mod that makes it the real solar system. And, you know, scales up all the parts and everything. Let's reverse that. There we go. I need a way more difficult version. Put those verniers there. What's the booster? It's the Gem 63. And I've also got a bunch of mods on here that add. Yeah, it's real skill. So like the stock system in Kerbal Space Program, like the Earth planet is, I think it's an eighth the size and gravity of real Earth. So it's just a lot easier to get to orbit. You need much less energy and everything. And thus all of the parts are scaled down too. But there is a mod that makes it the real solar system and scales up all of the parts to be, the right scale for a real solar system. But margins are just a lot tighter with that, obviously. Yeah, it did a thing. Hmm. All right, so we need that. How does that look? Where is Gym 63? There we go. We'll stick 4 solids on there. There we go. That should give us enough of a kick. So D. That should give us enough of a kick. I'll also need launch clamps. Fairing closed. So basically what it's showing is if you look at the chart there, come on, no, whatever. So the first where it says radius, the green circle there is the size of the Earth in the stock Kerbal Space Program system, and the blue is the radius of the real Earth. And then same thing for mass, orbital velocity, and fuel required. All right, let's try this. Good, no crew. Launch. Kerbin is what the stock Earth is called in Kerbal Space Program. All the names are changed to be fun. I haven't actually played much stock. I should play stock sometime. Given my skills for building missions in the real solar system, stock should be really easy. So in the base game, the Earth planet is called Kerbin. Gotcha. All right, let's see. Is this gonna work? So I've got solids now. Oops. Well, my staging was wrong. That didn't work. Well, always check your staging, folks. I think it's less than that. Yeah, it looks like about a fifth, yeah. Yeah, it's a tiny amount of fuel. So really the fuel to get to orbit is not about going up in altitude. Like if a car could drive straight up, you could drive to orbital altitude in a few hours. It's really not that high. But to get into orbit, you have to go very fast. So a big percentage of the fuel is what it takes. So you escape the atmosphere, but if you just go up and escape the atmosphere, you'll come right back down. So imagine you have a really tall tower, right? Say a several 100-mile tall tower, right? If you just step off the edge of that tower, you fall straight down. Now, if you run and leap off the edge of the tower, your trajectory kind of arcs out and you land some distance away from the base of the tower, right? Now, if you could run at 17,500 miles an hour, the curve that you make as you fall always misses the Earth. So you're constantly falling without hitting the ground. And it's just like a steady state sort of thing. You're always falling. So that's what takes so much fuel for getting to orbit. You have to go super fast. All right, I fixed the staging. Let's try this again. I remember the first time I ever played Kerbal Space Program, I didn't know that the base system was scaled down. So I built a rocket that had enough fuel to reach orbit in the real solar system. I wondered, why is it so hard to build a big enough rocket, you know? Like, these parts, like, they're just too small to store that much fuel. Like, this is really hard. And I launched, and I wondered, why am I in orbit and I didn't even use the first 2 of my 4 stages? Yeah, I could have gone super, super far. And then I asked on Discord, it's like, hey, is this a big enough rocket to get to orbit? Like, you know, like, and someone's like, yeah, it was pretty funny. And then I quickly found the mod to make it the real solar system. The Ion 4 upper stage does look very cursed. Ignition. Lift off. Oh, yeah. That engine is too powerful for that stage. Yeah, I hit the wrong key. I hit pitch instead of roll. So it wobbled a little bit. And now it's off and roll. It'll be fine. I'm helping it out and roll because it doesn't like this configuration. But like I'm not touching the controls right now. Just that initial part off the pad, I have to help it roll a little bit. Yeah, KSP flight computer is gonna deal with it. A lot of people do fly manually, like completely manually, in KSP. I don't like flying manually. It's not precise enough. On the other hand, my sort of base introduction to spaceflight is the Apollo program. Most people start with this game and then go into more serious spaceflight or mod it to make it more serious. I'm kind of the opposite. I came from extremely serious spaceflight. So I have a different playstyle than almost anyone who plays this game. Booster shutdown and set. So you can see we're flying almost horizontally now. Just gaining that speed. Alright, coming up on first staging. Shutdown. S4 reignition. Alright, we are going to time accelerate a little bit. So all of that stuff, that's not in orbit yet. So if we look at the map, this is actually a really good example. So see our trajectory here? Up and back down. So all of that stuff that I just jettisoned will just re-enter and impact the ocean. Where you get space trash is stuff that's released in orbit. So it's not going to fall back to the ground. It's just going to stay in that constantly falling state. Yeah, the nav interface is really pretty in this game. They did a really good job with it. Alright, let's time accelerate some more. Okay. About 6 minutes to, or no, 4 minutes to orbit. 2 hurricanes in the Gulf of Mexico. Yep, there's something there. That texture almost looks No, I think that texture is copy pasted. Look at the cloud pattern and the cloud pattern. And like these little clouds here and here. Yeah, definitely copy pasted. So if we look at the map now, see how our trajectory is just getting flatter and starting to get closer to the curvature of the Earth? We keep accelerating here. Eventually, we now are arcing around the Earth and shut down. So now our horizontal velocity is matched perfectly with the Earth's gravitational pull down, and we are in a circular orbit. All right, booster separation. So this is an example of where space trash would come from. So if I didn't deorbit this stage, it's still in orbit. It's just parked there in orbit, and it would remain in orbit for a long time. All right. Well, I attempt to be responsible with my space trash. I must admit, sometimes some things can't be deorbited easily, but I don't do stuff like jettison a bunch of fairings in orbit, because that would make 4 pieces of space trash. All right, what did I find from that test flight? I need to fix my staging again. Then I think we're good. Okay, how are we going to get people to Mars? That is a very good question. So, the problem with Mars, of course I'm going to bring them back. We don't do one-way missions in this house. So the problem with Mars is every pound of fuel that you want to, or every pound of cargo that you want to bring back to Earth from Mars, right? You need fuel to do that, right? Which is more weight, which means you need more fuel to carry that fuel to Mars. And it becomes very tricky because it's like an exponential curve for mass. So you can't just go directly to Mars with a single, like, well, you in theory could, but it'd be a massive launch vehicle. So this is the spacecraft which we will be using. If it loads. The trick is staging. So like you use part of your spacecraft. Yeah, if it loads. I'm not going to refuel on the moon, but we are going to refuel in Earth orbit. It takes unless you're making your fuel on the moon, it's not energy efficient to go there to refuel. So this is the stack that we'll be using for Mars. So this huge fuel tank. I'm actually not planning on making fuel on Mars for this first mission. Just, it's an unknown. Whether, you'd have the resources there and everything, and it's lower risk. It's lower risk to carry everything you need with you. So this fuel tank will provide all of the fuel to break into Mars orbit, escape Mars orbit, and return to Earth, and then break back into Earth orbit at the end of the mission. This section up here will be what the crew uses to land on Mars, and then return to this vehicle. So only this part will be for the landing. Yep, the MAV and the MDV in one vehicle. The MAV specifically is this section, this fuel tank and the cockpit here. This is like a transfer stage, and then here's your heat shield for entry. This is the crew quarters for during the trip. And for leaving Earth, once it loads, if it loads, come on, there we go. So this is the booster vehicle. So we will use 2 of these. Yeah, it's very tight on space. Remember the mass thing, every pound. So this is the booster vehicle that will send them to Mars. So you'll have 2 of these. They will attach to the sides of this. And those 2 vehicles, these 2, will perform the burn to leave Earth orbit and head to Mars. After that burn, they will separate from the main stack, which isn't wanting to load again. Once it loads. So those 2 boosters that I just showed, they'll attach to the sides of this, here and here, and they'll do the main escape burn. Then they will separate and fly back to Earth orbit for recovery and reuse. The WB-57 landed with no... Oh, no. That's not good. Okay, what was I working on now? That's good, that's good. Oh, hydrogen tanker, right. So here we have... $177 to 800. This is how much hydrogen is on board. And now we need how much hydrogen is in each of these boosters. Come on, please load. There we go. $145, 600. $792. Okay, we should be back. Cool. Hopefully that does not happen again. That's the second time that's happened. Both times on No, the other time it was on Linux. I don't know. OBS is weird. Alright, so that's how much hydrogen we have on board. Let's build a tanker. With numbers this size, I think I do need a calculator. Alright, let's hope OBS doesn't crash again. I don't know why. That was weird. I don't know why it did that. That means I'm gonna have fun editing the VOD, because I have to splice both parts together. Ugh. Tank. Search is so slow on this game. How many WB-57s do they have? They have, like, what, 3? And I wonder if it's going to be repairable. Because that's a pretty old aircraft at this point. Hopefully. Come on. What about this tank? How much hydrogen can this hold? They have one other one they can fly right now. Whew, I hope they repair it. Stream elements. Liquid hydrogen. 792. 792. 5 flights, okay. That works. Welcome in, Crochet. Let's do isohedral compact. Should I do compact or? Yeah, we'll do that. And I also need a small liquid oxygen tank. Liquid oxygen. And let's look at the RL10. How much delta V have we got? 355 meters per second, way more than we need. Oof. Face planting in the snow is no fun. There we go. Should I do foil compact or... This is true. This is true. Hmm. Sounds like they have even worse snow removal than we do. Both. This is an RL10 and a 10-meter hydrogen tank. But I think I'm going to have to go with this version because I need the... No, I don't like that. I want to go with that. How am I going to launch this thing, though? 70,000 kilograms. Let's do RCS. Because it's going to have to do rendezvous. Got a good foot of snow there. Yeah, we got like, I don't know, 8 inches. What the heck? Is everything okay? Where is the fuel tanks? There we go. That's good. Yeah, I remember at the beginning of the semester, the apartment that I lived in last semester. Oh, couldn't find the... That's not good. That's scary. Yeah, at the beginning of last semester, the apartment that I lived in kept having just random fire alarms go off at all times of the night. And it was just like people setting off their room smoke alarm because they were cooking. And I gotta admit, I kind of got so tired of it and used to it that I just started ignoring them. It's like, whatever. Probably not the best choice, but I was just over it. And I'm not getting up and going outside at 6 in the morning. Oh wow, it was big enough to have the sprinklers go off? That's scary. Hmm. Well, I'm glad it wasn't more serious than it was. Where is the RCS that I need? There it is. Oh. That's no fun. I guess better flooded than on fire? Oh, yeah. Hmm. That's fair. Yeah, I hate fire drills. They're just so annoying. It's like, I get that part of it is to test the fire alarms in the building, but it's like, seriously? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out you walk out of your room, go to the stairs, and leave the building. 2 hours? What the heck? Oh, that's awful. And you had to stand around outside that whole time? Ugh. Lovely. Minus 20 again. Wonder what would happen if I didn't show up at physics lecture tomorrow morning. I might have to try it. Oh. That's awful. So we would just stick it at 7. Well, they used to, but I think too many people went to dinner during the fire drills, and they don't like that because they want people to, like, participate in them. They did mine at 10:15 at night. This most recent one. A freaking fire drill at 10:15 at night. No, yeah, it's perfectly normal to want to wake up at the crack of dawn, walk to physics lecture in the cold, and then sit half asleep in physics lecture for an hour. That's crazy. That is crazy. Undo. Ah, something other than Starlinks. All right. Phil. I did not end up ordering a pizza. I decided snacks were okay and I should save my monies. Okay, so those are there. Yeah, snacks is good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the status of Vulcan is. Like, it's it it just doesn't seem to have much of a market. 11:45 at night. That's crazy. That is crazy. Was that when you lived in Aspire? Because if so, that was for Street Towers, and that scares me for next year. It was either that or Meredith South. Probably Meredith South, because they have all the glass windows. But that's not fun, because I'll be living in First Street Towers next year. Solar panels. That looks pretty centered. Meredith South. I can't believe they would do a fire drill at that time of night. Okay, actually, I can believe they would do a fire drill at that time of night. It's Purdue. Oh no, it's lagging. Please don't crash. Radiator, radiator. I need the small ones. Yeah. How long is the window? Probably lighting. Let's fix this. There we go. All right, now we need the refueler docking port. Do we have an extension thingy that I could use so I don't have to put that right on the front of the vehicle? Because that's too stubby. Oh, right. Let's try that. That looks like it'll fit. There we go. Cool. Omni. Let's get some antennas on this thing. Let's search for the Apollo antennas because I know that they work. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, I cannot find it. We're gonna do this. There we go. That was not symmetry. You want 4 times symmetry. There we go. Okay, there's antennas. What the heck? In February at 11:45 at night. Why? Why? That's just stupid. I'm not sure if it's mean or incompetent. It's one of the two. All right, 70,000 kilograms. That's Saturn Ant 20 territory. Wait, I need this. Yeah, 11:45 is the craziest I've ever heard of. Roger, see. Let's use a different probe core. What is this? Oh, this is. Yeah, that's them all apparently standing outside after the fire during the fire drill. I don't know why they would do that. I need a control thing. Where is? No, I would not be very impressed with Purdue University residences if they did that. Real. Okay, so that's the ship. Now I need can I... I need some kind of adapter for this thing. So it's a 5 meter. Is that a 5 meter thing? Five-meter decoupler. If this fits, then we'll know it's a 5 meter. Yeah, so that's a 5 meter adapter. Now I need to get a 5 meter stage attached to a 6.6 meter stage. I might need a custom adapter. I think we are going to need a custom adapter. Unless this has... No. Oh, S4 payload adapter. This might fit. This might fit. Yep, that's going to fit. Okay. Does it have a... It does not have a decoupler, though. So I need a decoupler. There we go. Saturn. Let's grab the instrument unit. This is 70 metric tons. It's probably going to be Saturn int 21 or int 20, the one with S1C, S4B. That fairing is not big enough. Hmm. 70 metric tons, yes, so 70,000 kilograms. I need like a extension thingy. Yeah, it's confusing here because we have metric ton, which is your ton, and regular ton, which is 2,000 pounds. It's really annoying. Yeah, I hate the Imperial units. Can they just go away already? Metric is just better. Everything about it is better. Good. It's annoying. Hmm. I really need a fairing. What about this? I don't think that this will fit either. Nope, doesn't fit either. Huh. That was really funny. That was really funny. Yeah, the pickup truck classification has always confused me. That doesn't fit either. Yeah, that was really funny. We were that was so funny. Hey, look, honest, admit it, he deserved a little bit of roasting that time. That was just funny. Oh, that was funny. I wait. Could I move those? Because then it would fit in the regular fairing. Barely. But it would fit. other thing we could do. I don't like that though. I don't know if I'm going to get a choice though. Because I think I'm just going to have to enclose both the second stage and the payload in a fairing. Oh. I've got an adapter for this. Perfect. I don't even need that. Is there a short version of this? No. What about a 10 meter to 5 meter? Nope. What about procedural fairing? I might just have to do a procedural fairing. I don't like them, but yeah, we're just gonna have to go with procedural fairing. I wonder if it's gonna go. Oh, I need the decoupler. I'm gonna go back to that. Where is that? There it is. Okay. Let's. Roger. I might actually watch it as well once it gets a little closer. This will be instrument unit. Keep me updated on it because I might put it on once it gets to. If it ends up going. Hopefully it ends up going. Oh, frickin'. I want the procedural fairing. Weather is the concerning one, because you can't do anything about it. Nice. Let me know when they're like T minus 2 minutes, and I'll pull it up. Ah, that's actually a really interesting point. So it's got several things going for it. It's far south. The farthest south sites are the better. They had a port there, which was important for moving heavy rocket stages, and it was a relatively remote area at the time. Something is up with this fairing. Really any time works well. I mean, you kind of do have to thread the uh the weather a little bit, but you can make pretty much any time of your work there. Okay, I don't know how to fix this because it's not supposed to look like that. Aha. There we go. T minus 3. I might pull up that stream. Sounds like they might actually go. Is this sound working? Think we're going. This is this Slick 40 or 39? No, this is 40. There we go. I love it when they call out max Q. Yes, exactly. Yeah, engineers love to make up just shorthand ways of saying things. So Q means dynamic pressure. Yeah. I wonder what we'll get to see of the booster landing. Yep, that's Orlando. I wonder which drone ship they're using. They have funny names for their drone ships. Um, my favorite drone ship name is Just Read the Instructions. Ah, my my favorite one is Just Read the Instructions. Oh, that's true, because it's like 1 minute from midnight now. That's kind of cool. Something looks off. What is all that glow and flashing? I don't remember seeing that on previous flights. I don't remember seeing that on previous flights. I may just be misremembering, but it is. Well, we'll see if we get a landing burn. Here we go. We got it. We got it. All right, there we go. I know. Yeah, it's crazy. Just and they can just do it so reliably. All right. Let's. Yep. The ride to orbit is pretty fast. Is this? No, that fits. Okay. All right. Oh, I should get the music back. All right. Yeah, spaceflight is awesome. I love spaceflight. Ah. All right. So there's that. Now let's get. I don't know what texture to use. I don't like procedural fairings because they're ugly. Titan, maybe. Atlas could also work. Either Atlas. That one's not bad. We'll go with that. What's the inside of that look like? Ew. Ugly. What about this? That's acceptable. Yeah, that's acceptable. Yeah, paint job is very important. And now, let's build the rocket. The part I actually like instead of messing with procedural fairings. I don't think that's gonna fit. Nope. So, we need another procedural part here. Did that delete? Yeah. That can go away. It duplicated my launch vehicle. Let's do... I want... No, I don't want that. I want this one. All right, let's do top diameter. Let's do 4.8. Maybe 4.8. 4.7. Yeah, that looks better. There we go. That gives me enough length. There we go. That works. And now I need to make this fairing taller. There we go. Perfect. Now I'll make that. Sounds good. See you. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, let's get that thing. If it ever finishes searching. Where's my engine mount things? J2. I should add Saturn to the J2 because it doesn't have it tagged as Saturn. J2S. Fill J2F. We can get away with the 200 series APS pods. Apps. Saturn. Could also be... Oh, wait. we go. No, that's 2 symmetry, not 3. There we go. There we go. I should actually check that other one, because I think I messed something up on it. I think I rotated the... Yep, I messed it up. There we go. Except now I'm in 2 times. I need 3 times symmetry. There we go. Yep, and it's still in the right. Okay, open tanker. Oh, wow. Normally, don't they just end after the first one? Hmm. Oh, is that message still pinned? Good. Whoever unpinned that, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna try something, actually. I'm gonna build this vehicle, but then I have a different idea that I'm gonna try. That's odd, because I know I didn't unpin it. Maybe it, I don't know, maybe it did the thing where it unpins it automatically after a certain amount of time. Now I kind of want to know why it unpinned. Five-meter decoupler, okay. So that all works.
Yeah, I don't know. What's that? Oh, that's a docking adapter. Okay, so that's that. 1256, Roger. I might pull it back up. Okay, I need an action group for engine 2. We'll shut down 1 and 4. Shut down engine. Lock gimbal. Shut down engine. Lock gimbal. All right, let's try this. Yeah, the fairing looks really goofy. I do have another idea. So we will, if after I test this and it works, I'm gonna build the other idea. So I'll save this and then build the other idea and see if it's better. Because this looks pretty tight on performance. Yeah. That's a good screenshot. It looks like a grain silo, yeah. It does. Yep. Outboard engine shutdown, or 2 engine shutdown. I don't think we're making orbit. Okay, S4B ignition. All right, let's time warp to S4B cutoff. Kind of looks like a stretched golf ball. Yeah, we're gonna need about 50 more meters per second to hit orbit. Yeah, it kind of does, actually. It looks weird. The next variant should look a little bit less odd. I think they do PTC. Shut down. There we go. All right, so that's the tanker. So we have control authority. And I believe we have, yep. Yep. All right. I want to try the other variant of Saturn. Because it might work better. I'm going to try that next. We'll take this. We'll save this as Tanker Old. That can go away. That can go away. That can all go. Wait for the lag. Lag. Fairing. I don't want fairing, I want Saturn. Because then I'll find the Saturn fairing. Okay, so that fairing fits it quite well. Int 21 instrument unit. There we go. Now, let's try that stage. G2S. Alright. Let's add this. That looks less goofy. Still looks goofy, but it looks maybe a little less goofy. I don't know if this will make orbit either, but we're gonna find out. I could also add a segment to the fairing. That would add more weight though, and I don't need more weight. Let's warp to sentence. That just looks goofy. It looks like they forgot the top half of the rocket. I might go with that just because it looks so goofy. When we have 45 seconds left in first stage burn, I'll shut down those engines. Five. Okay, I don't like that long burn on the... I'm gonna need something more than this, I think. Could just add more hydrogen. Because I like this stage. It looks good. I feel like it needs more TWR, though. Yeah, it kind of does. I don't know, I think it's a little bit less goofy, at least. A little bit. Do I still have that calculator up? No. Alright, we need more delta V. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. And we ended up with 775. Hmm. I'd like a little more performance. UA 1205 5-segment should do it. 2 of them. That should give us enough of a kick. Once the search finishes loading. UA 1205. Titan 3-meter radial decoupler. We need 2 of them. And we need the extensions. Okay. UA 1205. White TVC tank. There we go. Now let's check my staging. I need launch clamps now. Fairing open. Roger. When it's like T-minus 1 minute, I'll pull it up. All right, let's try this. All right. Hopefully we can make orbit without using an extreme amount of the payload propellant here. SRB ignition and liftoff. Wait, we could... That could work, actually. I could just make the perigee lower. That would let us get rid of the solids. Stand by for 30 seconds. Shut down. The SRBs didn't help nearly enough. Shut down. All right, 185. That's still a lot of delta V. Let's try a different ascent profile. Three minutes to burn. I'll pull up the stream now. I didn't miss it, did I? Okay, good. I didn't miss it. I always think it's fun to see those big ice chunks flying away. Nice. Universe Sandbox is so much fun. Yeah, I bet. Bit shaky. Yeah, get some residuals or transients, attitude transients there at ignition. Look good. Uh-oh. Yeah, welcome to either null or not a number space or anything like that. It is never a good sign. What was I gonna do? Oh, right, different trajectory. And let's give this stage 2 engines. Oh, yeah, it wasn't happy. Now let's try this. Oh. 185.2. That might do it. Oh, music, thank you. Alright. Okay. It's still really close on Delta V. I might try it without that other engine. I should do a Universe Sandbox stream, that would be fun. Oh, I know what I could do. I could do the S1D. Find new and exciting ways to... Yeah. Yep. That's what Universe Sandbox is for. Alright, this isn't gonna make orbit. I have an idea. You could do balloon cities. Balloon cities on Jupiter would actually be really sick. I don't want that one. I need this one. And in F1A config. Yes, we are doing stage and a half Saturn. Yeah, Jupiter is massive. Yeah, this is true. Yeah, storm chasing in the Great Red Spot would be interesting. Okay. Now we have all 5 engines. Booster skirt. Just delete one of these engines. Wait, hold on. Wait, that's a solution right there. Oh, great. Another bot. Can you kill that bot for me? Launch. Thank you much. What is up with all of the bots? That's seems like every stream there's at least a couple. All right. I just want to fly the stage and a half Saturn just to see what it does. Okay, it broke. Because I broke the staging. So we were talking about Jupiter. Did you know if you threw about 12 Jupiter masses more hydrogen at Jupiter, it would be enough mass to kick off fusion? Okay. Enable crossfeed. Well, you'd need to find about a dozen Jupiter masses of hydrogen someplace. That's the tricky part. And it would also put a protostar in the outer solar system, which would change everything. It wouldn't be enough mass. Jupiter is the heaviest planet in the solar system, and you'd need about a dozen of it. Saturn could help, but not anywhere close. But Saturn is mostly hydrogen. Uranus and Neptune are heavier elements like methane, or compounds like methane, so they wouldn't be of much use. You would need to harvest hydrogen from the sun. You should turn one of the gas giants into a black hole. The solar system thanks you. Yes, stage and a half Saturn. I don't think this is what I'm going to end up staying with, but I wanted to see how it would work. So, wobbly. Quickly, because this thing's not auto-strutted. There we go. That's funny. Alright, that's not gonna work. Nah, do it IRL. Oh, things are happening. What was that? Yo, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Alright. I like the stage and a half Saturn, but I'm afraid it's gonna have to go. Let's try more of a conventional Saturn with, again, 4 engines. We use the F1B. There we go. Okay. Tanks, fill F1B. Okay. That can go with that stage. And let's delete that engine. I didn't mean to do that. Mount type S4B. Attack! There we go. We could also... Let's also kick the ISP up on this. Yeah, let's kick the ISP up a little bit. Or do we have... Wait, we have a better engine. I can get a higher ISP engine than the J2. No, I can't because it won't be high enough thrust, whatever. If I did 4... Wait, if I did 4 of them, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. We will have to see. And the search is very slow again. 4,200. That might be enough. I should try it with that. We could always use a nuclear engine. $289 kilonewtons. And this guy is 11.7. Okay. So we could use 4 of these. Fill J2X. Let's try this. Now, J2X was never made. This engine was.
But those engines are so close together. Let's cant them out a little bit. Just a little bit. Because that's just too close together. Because this would work. $4,300. 4,500. Oh, it's so close. What about the dual mount one? Wait, what if instead of doing 4 times symmetry, we do 2 times symmetry? No, I want 2 times symmetry. Fine. There we go. Can I do the regular linked one yet? Yes. All right, let's try that. Quit putting all of the stuff in the wrong stages. All right, let's try this. We've got more Delta V. Got a low thrust second stage, which will be ideal for going to a high orbit. And I forgot to set up the action group for killing the engines. Virtual vehicle assembly. We're gonna get a flight. I'm telling you, eventually. Okay, let's... what was I? Oh, right. These. All right, and I think the action group is already set up. Yeah, but it got deleted. Lock gimbal, shut down engine. Lock gimbal, shut down engine. I also forgot fins. S1C, aerodynamic fin. There we go. Launch. All right, let's finally get this thing in the air. Universe Sandbox is just so much fun because you can just like break the solar system. And you can just reset the solar system and then break it again. Gauge autopilot. Ignition and liftoff. Oh, I think we'll make orbit this time. Auto strut. Keep forgetting auto strut. If this doesn't work, I can add solids. But those engines aren't flying. Shutdown. If you reversed it, master increased shift density. Well, the problem is hydrogen is not a metallic element. So what would end up happening is eventually, yes, it would compress down in density, but then it would kick off fusion and become a protostar.
shut down. Hmm. I think I'm gonna need a solid rocket booster. Hmm. It's also a very long upper stage burn. This will make orbit, but it's way too close. Hmm. Some SRBs could fix it. Throw a couple of those Titan solids on there. Yeah, that sounds like it can't go well. All right, so that technically worked. It was way too close, though. Jupiter is the most bullyable of all the planets. Hmm. Should I do that or should I try that? It's not going to make much difference.
Alright, let's do the Titan solids. I don't want 4 times symmetry, I want 2 times symmetry. Thank you. White TVC tank. I mean, it's not about just density. It's also about temperature and pressure. Like, I don't know what changing the density in Universe Sandbox affects. Yeah. I don't know how Universe Sandbox does it though. Now I gotta wait for the search again. Yeah. I think it's just increasing density. I think you have to throw more mass at it. It's kind of weird to think about if in the solar system's protoplanetary disk, when everything formed, if there had been just a little bit more percent of the hydrogen density where Jupiter was, we'd be a binary star system. And actually, the majority of stars in the universe are in binary star systems, or trinary, or a combination of stars. What was I? Oh, right. Pretty much, yeah. Um, actually, the closest star to Earth, the Alpha Centauri system, is there. It's a binary star system, and there's a third star that's kind of loosely gravitationally bound to the system. Yeah, our solar system is actually really unique. And actually, a lot of stars aren't nearly as continuous luminosity as ours. They vary a lot. There are some that are especially severe, and they
Like, they can vary by significant percentages in brightness from day to day. But most stars are a lot more variable than our sun. Our sun is a very stable star, and it's also not in a binary system. In 0.324 kilometers, that's like getting close to neutron star density. Booster ignition and liftoff. Wow. That's quite dense. Alright, so these boosters should just reduce gravity losses. So it should take about 5 tanker flights in between missions to carry up enough hydrogen to refuel the vehicle. Hmm. 2.65 times 10 to the 12th G. Wow. Yeah, that does sound like it's getting pretty close to neutron star stuff. Probably will. It'll either go supernova immediately, or it'll trigger fusion. I don't think... It's so dense that I don't know if it would be able to get to a stable fusion state. Booster SIP. Shut down. Good. Yeah, taking a save is never a bad idea. I think we've got it. 466 meters per second when we hit orbit. Looking at about a 10.5 minute burn on the second stage. Oops. Sorry, solar system, I made a black hole by accident. Alright, I think we've got it this time. Direct to 463 kilometers. Yep, I think we got it this time. 450, about 450 meters per second remaining at orbit. Yeah. Nice long ascent profile. Alright. Yeah, this is a long flight to orbit. I am going to get a screenshot, though. Because that's a cool looking rocket. There we go. How are we doing on the climb to orbit front? Looks pretty good. To what? Original Jupiter or super dense Jupiter? Um, Try just adding one Jupiter mass at a time till something interesting happens. Shut down. Um,
Okay, I need to configure vessel naming. I forgot about that. Ignition. Circularize at altitude 555.6. Create and execute. Ignition. All right. Now, all right, that should work. I need to add auto strut. Yeah, auto strut. That's it. And and configure vessel naming. Then I think the tanker is ready to go. All right. Let's see. I needed auto strut. Auto strut enabled. And configure vessel naming. Okay. Well, there we go. Where? Well, I think I may go ahead and end stream here. Yeah, I'd say we made really good progress on the Mars mission today. Next stream, I should be able to actually start flying it. I've got, I think, all the launch vehicles designed and built. So, yeah. Um, let me see. Is there anybody playing KSP I can raid? Okay, this guy has one viewer. I'm going to raid him. All right. I will see you all. Let's see. Thursday, 10 p.m. U.S. Eastern. I'll be playing more Minecraft.
Let's see. Oh, he won't let me. Okay, he has reads turned off. Okay. Is anybody else playing KSP? Same category. It looks like he is reading out at the end of stream. Okay. I'll just end stream.